Thank you for attending today's webinar. My name is Rob Livson. I'm one of the representatives here at Lightspeed, VP of Business Development and Sales. We like to always present you with some different topics for education and some trading strategies every once in a while, and really give some additional content to our customer base to just provide you with as much information as possible, so you can get a really good idea of either the programs we offer, some of the features that you may not know about, and just some overall knowledge on trading and our platforms and whatever we can provide you. So we're really, thankful that you guys are interested in learning more about trading and these topics, and we hope to always have more sessions as we go. You can always view previous webinars on the Lightspeed webpage under resources on webinars. Here, if you can see my attached screen, you could see we have all recordings of recent webinars on different topics, whether it's order entry, features the platform, or even some trading strategies. So we do try to run a variety of topics here. Before we get started, I have just our brief disclosure here. This presentation is for informational purposes only. It is in no way considered to be investment advice, guidance, or suggestions on how to trade for strategy, or in that manner, any type of advice. It's solely for presentation and demonstration purposes, trying to give you definitions and just information on the various aspects of trading here. And then this topic is specifically going to be about understanding order routing and liquidity rebates. We will have the outline here. You can see we're going to try to really just show you the various order destinations that we provide, along with the certain order types and routes that we offer. And then I really want to get into the liquidity definition and show you the difference between adding and removing liquidity, and how the cost structure breaks down through the various routes that we offer. And then also at the end, just show you, some examples of some custom orders on the routing portion of setting up various custom orders to go through different routes. We certainly will take some questions as we go if they relate to that topic that I'm discussing, but I'll try to get to all questions at the end. But certainly, if they relate to what I'm talking about, certainly type it in. If not, we'll have a little time at the end as well. Okay, so we will get started here. So I have my Lightspeed Trader platform running here. I hope everyone can see that okay. I want to make sure everyone type yes if you can see my screen, and if you can hear me just fine here. Great. Okay, sounds like everyone's on the same page here. So here's one of the basic default layouts for the Lightspeed Trader platform. In my order entry window here, you can see I have a symbol, and then there's a order type, and then a market destination. If you open up your market dropdown, you can see there's a variety of selections that we offer. The LSPT route is the Lightspeed Smart route. And then you can see we also offer ARCA, BATS, EDGE, NYSE as different routing options to the exchanges. And then we do offer a variety of strategy routes as well. So we'll go into just some of the differences between these routes, and then just some of the actual order types as well. You can see in the type here, you have various order types. Some are only available for certain market routes, and some would not be available at all. So we'll try to cover a little bit of all those questions. Now, as far as the LSPT route, it is the Lightspeed Smart route. It's designed to give you the best execution through the best source of liquidity. It does rotate through different exchanges and routes, and it is based on an algorithm, but it's always designed to give you the best execution. It's an extremely fast route, especially for being a smart route in comparison to a lot of other companies' smart routes out there. And you'll find that most people have very fast executions and are perfectly happy with this route. Now, so then why will people want to select a specific route is the main question here. Now, it really does depend on the security that you're trading and the type of market that it is and the orders that you have. If you have something that is trading very thinly and you see that there is a bidder offer on a certain exchange with a certain size, you may want to try to interact with that exchange right away without having to go through any other routes. So in order to access that as soon as possible, like I see here in my example here, ARCA has 1,200 shares at the offer at 47 cents. Now, going with the Lightspeed route may access that. It may fill a portion of it. It may not. Going to ARCA directly as the routing destination, you have the greatest chance of getting filled on that exchange at that price right away in full. So most of the time you want to send the order to the exchange that is displaying that largest bidder offer at your specified price. It's not to say that you're guaranteed that fill at the moment. If there's other orders ahead of you or the market conditions change at that time, things move very quickly. But that is the main reason why that we give you the various selections. It's trying to access the liquidity through that market destination as fast as possible. We also offer various strategy routes and dark pool routes and other type of algorithmic orders here that, smart routes, super smart orders that if we have time, maybe we'll try to get into the dark routes and how to set those up as well. The LSPT logic behind the actual routing is not something I would know exactly. It is kind of a proprietary algorithm. It's sending out to all different venues, so I really don't have the exact definition of how that calculates where to send the order and where not to, but we do always try to have that updated and configured to give you the best source here. So the main point here is to define what the actual routes that we have available. You can see on the Lightspeed website. If you go into the pricing tab and the Lightspeed routing fees, you can see the breakdown of the various routing destinations that we offer and the schedule for fees. So the Lightspeed route, LSPT, that is the lowest cost route that we offer for taking liquidity. It's 0.0015 per share, so it's $1.50 per 1,000 shares. You can see, however, the add liquidity is also in parentheses, so that route does not provide any liquidity rebates. This is purely a take liquidity route and does not provide for any rebates. If you look at some of the other selections, ARCA or Edge, X, or NASDAQ, you can see there's no parentheses. So for the add liquidity, you would get a rebate of spot 0.002 per share if you're actually providing liquidity on your orders. So ARCA would have a higher fee for taking liquidity, 0.003 per share. So each route would have a different table here based on adding or taking and depending on what your order qualifies for. So you can see not only do we have the exchanges, ARCA, BATS, Edge, you can see we have some other ones here, Instinet Smart, Night Fan, Night Covert, NASDAQ Hidden is a different order type, PDQ is another strategy route, Night Covert is a dark pool route, LSPD Dark Assault. So they're all different strategy routes that have a different structure for the cost based on the orders here. So you can really find out more information on what these venues are and how they actually are designed if you go into the resources tab under Lightspeed Trader. If I scroll down here to the bottom, there's order entry documentation. So we'll quickly just look at a couple of these just to give you an idea of what they actually are intended for. Lightspeed Trader Dark Assault. You always hear about people wanting to access a dark route, dark pools. We offer that, and there's some documentation on here. It gives you a little bit of a definition here. Dark route offers beneficial pricing, large liquidity pool, the ability to arrest orders. It's really a way to access liquidity that's not displayed. There's a lot of hidden orders out there. There's a lot of pools of liquidity that you may not be displayed, but some of these routes can fill you on that, and this dark assault route is designed to do that. It's mostly looking for it's going to be most beneficial for larger volume securities. There's more liquidity there, but you certainly can see how it interacts with the type of stocks that you're trading here. They all do interact with different counterparties, and they're all set up to be based on their own order designations to go out to different markets, different market makers, or different routes. It really depends on what type of stocks you're looking at and how thick or thin they trade to see what route would be beneficial for you. So it really is dependent on a lot of factors and how aggressive you're looking to be. You're not going to see exactly how these dark routes or strategy routes are designed or how they're actually configured. They are proprietary routes to each of these market makers or order routes. So PDQ or Knight, they have their own algorithms. They have their own access to different market makers and exchange destinations. So you don't know where those are going to be exactly sent to. Okay, we have a couple questions coming in here. So the pricing tab is on that Lightspeed site here. You might have to go to the general website instead of your client center. If you go to the general Lightspeed site, it's on the public version, not the private version. You do have direct market destinations available on your options. We don't offer option rebates on here, so there is an additional cost for routing if you want to access liquidity directly through any of these exchanges directly, but we don't provide the rebates on the options. Okay, so now I want to it's really specifying to 2 decimal points for the liquidity. We just want to get into the definition of liquidity here and how that's actually going to be defined. Another good question here is what is the outbound portion, the outbound shares listed on the website, and that's really when you send an order to one exchange and they do have to send it to another destination. It's called routing away or outbound, so there could be an additional cost if they do have to use an additional route themselves to get your order executed. So you can see ARCA has a slightly different cost if they're doing an outbound route, so there could be times when an order has to go into ARCA, but they would maybe have to then access another exchange like BATS or Edge, and then there could be an outbound cost to it. So there are some other conditions involved. So there's always going to be some. You have no real control of that. No, you can designate your order to be non-routable and only execute on your exchange, but you also don't want to limit your chances of getting filled. So sometimes you do have to take that chance. So it really depends on how aggressive and how important getting that fill would be. So the two definitions of liquidity really that we have here are add liquidity and take liquidity. And essentially it's putting shares into the market or taking shares away. I kind of describe this as, the level 2 is your bucket of liquidity. You could think of it in a couple different manners, but if you just think of it in the basic terms of liquid, water in your bucket, you're either adding water into this bucket or you're taking it away. If there's an order here at 16.45 and you want to buy it, you're basically taking that order away from the market. If you are selling at that same price, putting a target there at 16.45, your shares are adding to the market, and it's going to add liquidity. It's going to post to the level 2, and your shares are going to increase on the offer there and add to it. Essentially just like a marketplace. If you want to go into the market and you see that there's something on the shelf at $10 and you want to buy it at $10, you're taking that product off the shelf at $10. That's taking liquidity. Let's say you go into this flea market and you want to be a seller, you put something else on that shelf at $10.05, you just added to their inventory, so you added liquidity. So, those are two kind of definitions that I use. You're either, adding water or adding a product. In this case, it's shares or an order to the marketplace. So it's as simple as either you're taking someone else's order or you're adding your order to the marketplace. So add liquidity is defined as a passive or target limit order. You're buying at the bid or lower or selling at the offer or higher. Taking liquidity is any market order or marketable limit order, which is very important. All limit orders do not qualify for add liquidity. If it's a marketable limit order, then that's going to still qualify as taking. If it's an aggressive order, buying the offer, selling the bid, that is also qualifying as taking liquidity, and you would receive the take liquidity fee. Only when your orders are posting to the market, buying at the bid, increasing the shares there, are you going to receive that liquidity rebate. So I have some examples and some screenshots of various orders interacting with the markets here. Is this big enough for everyone to see? Just let me know. The rebates, okay, great. Yeah, the rebates apply to stocks or ETFs here as well. Certain platforms that we offer may not have all the routes available, but it's kind of the same idea. We do offer the rebates on whatever routes that we do have, and each route would have a separate table here. So, okay, in this example here, you can see here the bid is 1637, the offer is 1638. The current order that I'm placing here, buying 100 shares of FAZ at 1637. Essentially, I'm buying at the bid. You can see my order is highlighted here along with the other bids. So I'm essentially joining that bid here. So you can see that's going to qualify if I get filled as adding liquidity. My order is not immediately getting filled, but it's going to the marketplace and it's posting along with others. So you can see once that order goes out there, I hit enter. The order then gets posted to the bid here, and you can see on my orders window, we do have some things I forgot to mention. You can put on different columns on your orders window to display if this order, once it gets filled, did it add liquidity or remove liquidity, and you could have a count and you can really get an idea of what those orders were qualified for, so you have an idea of your cost as well. So this order currently is sitting on the bid buying at 1637. It actually quickly gets filled. You can see all the prints go off at 1637. And you can see on my orders window, this order did get filled. So you can see 100 out of 100 bought at 1637. And then we can see on my total here, 100 shares were added liquidity. So the system will tell you if that order qualified for the add liquidity or if it did not. Okay, so now I have my next screen here. If you look here at my confirm order, buying one share at the price is $16.36. So the bid is 35, the offer is 36. This is going to immediately be buying at the offer, so it's considered to be removing liquidity. I am taking the shares from that current offer. So rather than joining the bid, I'm being more aggressive and I'm buying immediately at 16.36. Now here's the opposite here. So I am selling now this one share. The bid is 16.36 and the offer is 16.37. I am selling my one share that I purchased at the bid. So I'm selling to the bid 16.36. Once again, that's going to take a share from the current market, and that's also going to qualify as removing liquidity. So it's another aggressive limit order. There is a way to account for the fees on the program. You can enable the settings here. So just quickly jump back to my program here. If I go into my design menu and under my net P&L, I can put in rates here for add or remove liquidity. So I can put in various numbers here. My remove rate for the LSPT route would be 150. If I generally use ARCA, it would be $3. And my add rate would be +2. So I can enable that and have my net P&L display on the software there. So that's in the design menu under the show net P&L column. Now all I would have to do would be to now display my net P&L here. So if I go to my estimated net P&L, I hit OK, that's going to be inclusive of any rebates or debits here. So you can have a column that displays your routing fees as well. So that is available here on the platform. You can put in the commissions if you're on a per share basis. If you're on a per ticket basis, it won't calculate that. So it is also an estimate. So you do have to be aware that it's not always going to be 100% accurate if there are some routing away or there are some other routing changes. So you have to just always know that it is an estimate here as well. Okay, so this one was selling one at the bid here, so we remove liquidity again. Now you can see here on my orders window, this order filled. I sold to the bid, and you can see remove liquidity column, the one popped up there. That was the one share that I removed. So it's going to keep a running total of what added and what removed, and an individual column for adding or removing as well. So you can keep track of that if you really want to know. Now, really the difference here is, in the 100 shares that I'm placing, it's going to be 15 cents for the LSPT route or 30 cents for the remove liquidity rate on the 100 shares. If I'm adding liquidity, I'm going to get 0.002 or 20 cents as a credit back. So when you're trading 1,000 shares, it can really add up. It could be an additional $2 as your rebate, or ranging from $1.50 to $3 as an ECN routing charge. So you do have to be aware of these various costs, but you can maximize some profits if you are able to set some target limit orders and offset some of these routing fees. Okay, so I want to see if you guys kind of are understanding the concept here, I'm going to just show you a couple of orders, and I want you guys to let me know if you think it qualifies as an add liquidity or a take liquidity designation. So we can see here I have the bid of 1636 and an offer of 1637. I'm selling 100 shares at a limit of 1634. Is this going to be taking or adding liquidity? It's a sell order. Just type it right in there, guys. So selling, the bid is 36. I'm selling below the bid at 1634. So it's going to be an aggressive order that's going to be taking liquidity. That's right. So anything that's selling to the bid or lower is going to be taking liquidity. That's going to immediately execute since I'm willing to sell below the best bid at that point. Okay, so now we have another one. I'm selling 100 shares. The bid is 37, the offer's 38, and I'm selling at 1639. Yes, correct, guys. I am selling higher than the offer. So I'm essentially setting a target higher than the limit order, and I am adding liquidity that would qualify for the rebate. Okay, good. So it seems like I hope you guys, I'm explaining this correctly. If you guys do have questions, certainly let me know here. Okay, we have another one. So here's the answer to this one, selling 100 at 1639. The stock came up to my price very quickly, and you can see it sold, and I got the add liquidity 100 shares. So I was able to set my target, the stock came to me, and I was able to qualify for that rebate. So you know, it's always a balance of whether the cost of the routing is more important than actually getting your execution. If you need to get out, obviously you want to be more aggressive. But if you are trying to maximize some profits and you are setting targets, then those target limit orders will even get you a greater profit by setting some add liquidity rebates here. So this was the same thing, selling at 39 cents, and that got filled. Okay, now one more, buying 100 shares at the market, adding or taking. Yes, taking, correct here. And someone asks if you want the execution at any cost and you're being more aggressive, the LSPT route is the good option. It will provide you with the lowest take fee, and it will certainly give you a great chance of getting filled. It interacts with a lot of the different venues. Okay, so just any basic questions here on the add versus take? Did my examples kind of make sense to everyone? Understand the difference between the buying on the bid or buying at the offer versus selling on the bid, selling on the offer, add versus remove. Okay, great. So now really just a couple ways to set up some various custom orders here and how you can select your different routes. We'll just go through quickly. If guys have certain orders you're looking to do, then we can look at those as well. I can simply go into my settings menu here under my utilities, configuration settings. If I go into my custom orders, I can create my own route orders. create new commands. So if I did want to interact with some of these dark pool routes or strategy routes, I would create my own custom orders here. And we do have those guides available. So if we just take one here, we'll say the night route here. What you would do here is, if you see, you would choose a market destination, which would be night, and then you would select which one of these actually algos you're looking to do. If more aggressive, more passive, or neutral, we have different ones here. So if I would like a pegged order or not, a pegged order can split the bid or offer. It's most likely going to qualify as a take liquidity, but they have these here for you. So we'll say the aggressive peg market, which is the FANA, and I'm buying, and since I'm aggressive, I'm going to buy at the ask, and I could do either as a closeout for a short order or just a certain quantity. So we can just make this a 500 share order either way. I can just name this here, buy fan 500 ask, and I can map this key as a hot key or hot button. Done. Okay. If I go into my hot buttons window, certainly if anyone has questions about these and wants to go through a certain walkthrough, we're always here to help you build these as well. So essentially, I just want to go and add this custom order to my hot buttons window, my buy fan 500, hit OK. I want to pop that up. So right away, look, buy 500, the ask is 45 cents. That's what's going in there, and it's going to that night fan route. So it's a quick way to build custom orders through custom routes. I know I did that kind of fast. So once again, it starts with the custom order, going into the route and creating the command with the various routes. If we want to look at one more, we can do that. So if we want that Lightspeed dark order, we would do LSPD. We'd make this contra is dark. And once again, we're going to make it very aggressive. So we're going to buy the ask, and this could simply be a 100 share order. Buy 100 LSPD. And you can set this as a hotkey, a hot button, or use it from your order entry. So I hit my buy 100 LSPD. We can go there, and certainly it'll give you a chance for price improvement if possible, but it's going to then be aggressive and hit this dark route before it then routes it to other destinations as well. It always depends on your own strategy, what symbols you're trading, when people use these, the advantages of them as well. And it really depends on a lot of factors. So, it's always up to you to determine your strategy, what symbols you're trading, how aggressive you want to be, and you'd have to weigh all those factors in. But it is maybe use a little bit more for larger share orders or for larger traded stocks or some that have a larger spread. So, there's a lot of different routes work best for different scenarios. And, it does take some experience with these and see how they interact with the markets. Of course, you don't want to do too much trial and error by losing money, but, these are the different options here available for you. A standard custom order you can do as well. If you just want to choose the route that you want, you can do ARCA, you can do LSPT here. Now, if I want to be more aggressive, I could buy at the ask plus 3 cents. So this will be, we'll say 100 shares. So this is essentially buy LSPT ask plus 03. So you can see here, the ask is 48 cents. My price is going in at 16.48. So it's a way to be more aggressive. So the through amount determines how much above or below the bidder offer you're willing to put your limit order. Okay, so let's see, what other type of questions do we have here? Matt asking some API questions and tag stuff. I'd have to get back to you and speak to some developers on that. I really wouldn't know that specifically. I do see your questions coming through. I just trying to focus more on the retail side here on the general manual orders here. So certainly send me an email later on with some of these questions. James, Nexa is not an order route that we offer. They are sometimes a managed route on some of the other platforms. Jackie's asking, what does the L mean? Or sometimes you can see it's an E, easy to borrow, or a locate is required. So that's giving you the short sale availability. If I go to something that's easy to borrow, you can see it's a green E. You can place the short order right away. If it's something that's not available at all to short, it's going to get displayed in the level 2 as well. Sometimes if you see a CB, that means it's a circuit breaker. Then that's a short sale restriction. You can only short on an uptick in that symbol. So that's what the CB would show. Also, if a halt comes up, you'd see an H there as well. So it gives you some information on the level 2 window as well. And on the availability, the 25% would be the margin requirement as well. Okay, so other questions that I can do here, feel free to let me know. Certainly, you can request a demo of the Lightspeed website here. Right on the upper right-hand corner, try a demo. If you're new to Lightspeed, you're looking to open the account, you can go to the open an account and go through the application here. If you have questions, you could always email sales@lightspeed.com, or my email is rlivson@lightspeed.com. So feel free to give us a call. Any questions here? Rick is asking about the pre-market risers and fallers. And some other ways we do offer the risers and fallers, which you can scan. If you filter based on price or display certain symbols, we do have the light scan filter, which can provide some additional scans. So Rick, if you don't have the light scan, you can ask for that as well. Provide some other different tools for scanning as well. Jim is asking about just getting ad liquidity rebates with the algos. It is a little bit more difficult. The real true purpose of those algos are to access liquidity and mainly to get filled. So, taking liquidity is the greater chance of getting filled using those routes. So, it's just kind of how they're designed. So it is a little bit tougher to get filled on that, but it always does depend on the type of market and the symbols that you're doing. I guess you have to look at which ones you're using. Are you using very aggressive ones and trying to add liquidity on an aggressive route, or we do have those more passive algo routes that are a little bit more designed for adding liquidity. So it does take some different testing of the different algos on different stocks to see how that works. It is hard to beat some of those programs and the algos. So it's certainly they are designed to try to interact and you know take advantage sometimes of some of the orders and the market movements. So that is one of the difficult aspects of it. But you certainly can try to use different routes and different methods to try to do it. You can save your layout by going to your layout menu and do a save layout as. This will allow you to save the layout to your machine. You can make changes and save that as well. If you save your layout, then you should be able to load that right back. You're saving it to your computer as well as our server. Okay, guys, so that's essentially what I just wanted to display to you guys, just kind of the differences of the different routes we offer and the different uh, definitions of liquidity and how to access it. The Lightspeed route is the best way to go when you are taking liquidity. It's going to be the lowest cost. It does give you a great chance of getting filled at a very good price. A lot of firms that offer smart routes, you may find a little bit of delay, but Lightspeed's very well known to get very fast executions and trying to provide as good of an execution price as possible. So, we truly stand behind our smart route and all of our routing that we do, and hopefully, you guys can see the difference when you're placing these orders with Lightspeed than other firms. It really should be as fast, whether you're in New York, California, or across the nation or the world. You should see very fast here. Peter, I see you now. I hadn't seen any questions come in for you for a little while. I see one inverse routes. There is one inverse type of route that we do offer, but it is very difficult to get filled on those type of routes. Obviously, you can see here if you are taking liquidity and getting a rebate, that's why, or something like that sense, it's just not as easy to get filled. Okay, so guys, if you have further questions, certainly feel free to email us, sales@lightspeed.com for new accounts, or service@lightspeed.com for any other questions as well. Thank you guys very much. We'll try to get this webinar up as well, and hopefully you guys can take something out of it. So we appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you very much.